Hey guys, Jen here and welcome back to my channel. For this video, I will be showing you how to make some cream puff. Cream puff is basically a hollow pastry shell filled with custard or whipped cream. I also dip them on some chocolate ganache to make them even tastier. So if you want to know how to make this, just stick around and I will show you how it's done. Now let's get into the video. We start by making the choux pastry. In a saucepan, just combine your milk, water, sugar, salt, and butter that's been cut into smaller pieces. Set your fire to low to medium heat to get the butter melting. You don't want to start the fire too high, otherwise a lot of liquid will evaporate before we get to melt the butter. Once it's bubbling, dump in your sifted flour and mix that for about 1 to 2 minutes until the mixture forms a big blob. You'll also notice that it forms a thin white film on the bottom of your pan. Although, sometimes you may not see that if you are using a non-stick pan. So, if it looks like this, that's your cue to turn it off the heat. Now, bring your choux pastry to the counter and transfer it in a big bowl. Mix it for about a minute just to release some of the steam and cool it down a bit. We'll be adding the eggs shortly and we don't want to scramble them, so make sure that the choux pastry is just slightly warm. To your choux pastry, add in your eggs one at a time, mixing well in between each addition. We'll be adding 4 to 5 eggs in the choux pastry. When we add the 4th egg, we'll do a quick test if a 5th egg is necessary. That is because you may get smaller eggs on some days, and we want to make sure that the pastry is in the correct consistency. So that's the 4th egg and it's been mixed well. Here, I'm just using a spatula to get a feel of how fluid this batter is. What I'm looking for is a batter that clings to the spatula but flows down. We don't want it too runny though. This looks like it's almost there but not quite. It's not flowing down like I want to, but it already forms a V. So I beat up the last egg in a small bowl and added a little over half of it and mix it up. Once it's been mixed well, I tried the consistency again and it's a little bit more fluid compared to when I added 4 eggs only. So if you feel like the batter needs the whole 5th egg, go ahead and add the remaining half. So this is just a side-by-side comparison of the batter with the 4 eggs and with 4.5 eggs. Hopefully this makes you understand what the consistency of the batter should be. Now it's time to bake them. I transferred the batter in a pastry bag and made a tiny cut on the end. On the corners and sides of the baking tray, just put small dots of the pastry because this will help keep the parchment from flying around. And then stick your parchment and start piping. So I cut the piping hole bigger this time. Just pipe small dollops onto the baking tray. This is about the size of a 5 peso coin. Try not to make pointy ends by flicking the end of the piping bag. But if you can't help it, that's okay. Also, try not to cut the end of the piping bag too big because if it's too big, then the pastry might just flow out and you'll have a difficult time controlling it. Cut it about ½ an inch wide, I guess, and cut it bigger if you need the pastry to come out a bit faster, I guess. Some of the choux pastry came out with pointy ends, and I don't want that, so I wet a finger with some water and just dab those ends. I also made some egg wash with what's left of the eggs and brushed the top of the choux pastry. Now they go into a 375 degrees Fahrenheit preheated oven for about 25 to 30 minutes or until they're golden brown. Make sure not to open the oven door until after the 25-minute mark because if you do, the pastry will collapse because all the heat inside the oven will just go out and we don't want that. So just check on them after the 25-minute mark. Once baked, give them a few minutes to cool and I'm going to whip some cream while we do that. In a big bowl, just transfer your cream and add some sugar and vanilla extract. So I just noticed that I didn't add vanilla extract. So either I didn't hit the record button when I did or I totally forgot it. So I feel like it's the latter. But if you do have access to vanilla extract, please add that and whip this cream to soft peaks. And then I just transferred it in a piping bag fitted with a small round tip. So let's just set this whipped cream aside and start making the ganache. Basically, you want to just add some heavy cream into your bittersweet chocolate, put that in the microwave for about 30 seconds just until it's melted. And it's gonna look like this. Now we are ready to put everything together. First, we're gonna poke a hole under all of your pastry shell with a skewer or a knife. I am actually using the pointy end of a meat thermometer that I've never used before because that's the only one I can find at the time. And then through the hole, fill it with some whipped cream. Try not to go overboard though because it's gonna overflow like this. You can feel the puff going a little bit heavy, so that's gonna be your guide. But if it does overflow, you can easily scrape that off. And then we're gonna dip the top of that cream puff into the chocolate. Looking through the monitor, it is super yummy. It makes me hungry. Now you just have to repeat this for all of those cream puffs. Fill them with whipped cream and then dip them in the chocolate. Fill with whipped cream and then dip in the chocolate. And then of course, I need to be a little bit extra. I'm gonna put some white hearts on top of the cream puffs because they're so cute. And that's it guys, I hope you liked this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure that you hit the notification bell below so you don't miss out on any of my uploads. Thanks for watching, I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye!